If you're looking for some raw, powerful sound out of your 2015 to 2017 Mustang GT Fastback, then look no further than the Street Race Catback. This is a loud, well-designed catback system with a lot of good features packed in that comes in at a reasonable price. So if you want the best kind of sound, this one should absolutely be on your shopping list. Now, there's no getting around it. This thing is loud. It's basically knocking on the door of a straight pipe, so we're gonna give this the full 5 out of 5 on our loudness meter. About the only thing louder than this exhaust would be just dumping it straight out of the headers, so this one is definitely gonna wake your neighbors. But there's a lot more to it than just volume. This is a full 3-inch catback system, so it's going to take the place of all of your factory mufflers and resonators. And as you might have already noticed, there are no traditional mufflers or resonators on the table with me. And that's because, well, there just simply are none in this system. And as you heard from the clips at the start of the video, that means this sucker is loud. It's deep, it's aggressive, it's raw, it's everything you want out of a big displacement V8, and it makes the Coyote absolutely wail exactly the way that it should. Now inside the cabin, of course, this also translates to a much louder experience versus stock. It's not going to completely blow your eardrums out, and you can still enjoy taking a road trip. And that's because there's some rather clever stuff included in this exhaust. Great lengths have been taken to ensure that this may have a lot of volume, but there's still no drone. At the front of the system, you get a built-in X-pipe. Now, if you're not familiar, these do a couple of things. They help equalize exhaust pressures and resonant frequencies that are naturally created by traditional V8s with uneven firing orders, such as the Coyote. X-pipes also help your engine breathe a little bit better, especially at higher RPMs. That crossover makes for an increase in exhaust gas flow, and it can help with exhaust gas scavenging, so it'll pull those pulses out of the system, and again, just allows the engine to breathe better. And of course, part of what we love about the Coyote is that it does thrive at high revs, which is exactly where an X-pipe really comes into its own. Now, as with any exhaust, don't go expecting huge power gains here, but there is less restriction in this system, so you should see something better than stock. And if you're really hammering your car, that's where that X-pipe again is going to thrive. Now, the other piece of the puzzle here are the adjustable J-pipes. These are also known as Helmholtz resonators. And unlike inline resonators that you'd find in most other systems, these do not fundamentally alter the sound profile, but they cancel out unwanted or dissonant frequencies. It kind of lets them come out of the system and then phase right back in and go out the tips. In this system, it's part of the sound on demand technology. The adjustability here is really nice to see because you can tune these to make it work exactly the way you need it to for your specific car. If you've done a cold air intake, if you've done some other engine mods, your sound profile might be a little bit different than an otherwise stock car. So you can adjust these, and this can work with you throughout the lifetime of your car. In this system, that is part of the sound on demand technology. The idea being that this is a bit more subdued than just a plain old straight pipe, but it's still going to give you that sound when you really romp on it. And to me, that is the best part. You get all of the sound and the volume that you want without the annoyance. So between the X-pipe and those J-pipes, and even despite the lack of traditional resonators or mufflers, you'll be able to really enjoy the sound of the Coyote V8 without any unpleasant drone that sometimes comes with aftermarket systems. This system is capped off with a set of these polished slash-cut exhaust tips. Now, these look similar in some respects to your factory ones, but they're just a bit bigger at 4.5 inches in diameter. In contrast to the sound, these are maybe a bit more subtle. However, any subtlety is going to be absolutely thrown completely out the window the moment you fire it up. Construction is all 3-inch mandrel bent T409 grade stainless steel, so this is going to give you some good protection against the elements. It's not going to be quite as much as a full T304 stainless setup would be, however, you're not paying the price of T304 stainless either. That 409 material means that you're going to have some nice protection. It's not going to rust or corrode like a factory system would either. The mandrel bending means no weird creases or strange bends, and that allows for smooth exhaust flow throughout the system. Those tips that we were just talking about, these are again 4.5 inches in diameter, and they are dual wall T304 stainless, and they're polished to a nice shine, meaning that they're going to look good and be very resistant to rust and corrosion as well. You're also going to find heavy duty reinforced hangers, and you've got ball and socket mounts for those tips too, so you can get them aligned perfectly without having to adjust the rest of the exhaust system. All of that really just substantiates that this is a very solidly constructed system. Pricing for this system comes in at about $1,200. Now that's right in line with some of the other catbacks that we see on the market. It's not quite the top end, but it's not going to be the most affordable either. But for a good quality exhaust with all these features included, I really think this is a good deal. In fact, given the X-pipe and the J-pipes that are included here, I really think this is a bit of a bargain because this is going to give you that great sound without the drone, and you're not going to have to pay the price of a huge big name brand. So if you want that head turning volume without the annoyances and you don't want to pay that huge price tag for it, this has got to be your pick. Installation will come in at a 2 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and the job should take you around 2 hours to complete. This is a fully bolt-on system, and it uses all of your factory exhaust hanger locations, so there's no cutting or modification required to your car in order to get this fitted. You also get all the hardware and clamps that you need included in the box as well. With that, let's head on out to the shop and we'll walk you through the process step by step.
For this install, you need a 3/8 impact and ratchet, extension, 15 and 13 millimeter socket, mallet, and spray lubricant. All right, today we're gonna be installing an exhaust on our Mustang. First, we'll watch a quick video how to uninstall a stock system, then we'll come back here to install the new one.
First step here, guys, grab a 15 millimeter deep socket. We're gonna loosen up, but not completely remove, the nuts on both of the band clamps here, connecting your factory resonator to your headers. So we're just gonna loosen these guys up. All right, next step, we're gonna be at our rear subframe right behind our diff. Now you'll see these hangers connect to the subframe itself using two 13 millimeter bolts. Now we don't have to remove the hangers from the isolators. We're actually just gonna unbolt the whole isolator bracket from the frame. So we're gonna have a 13 millimeter socket, and I like to use an extension to go right over the sway bar, and we're gonna remove these. Now from there, what I'm gonna do is just lift up on this and swing these guys down. There's a little locking tab here that just hooks in. We just wanna unhook that. So you may have to lift up on the exhaust and then bring it down. All right, next step, before we remove the whole exhaust in one piece, I recommend grabbing WD-40 or something similar with this needle here to just lubricate the hanger above your tips. This is gonna make removing it a whole lot easier. All right, do the same thing on the other side. Next step, guys, we're gonna take our exhaust off all in one piece. Now, you may want a helping hand if you're using a lift like we are. If you're working on the ground, might be a little easier for you to do by yourself. I'd recommend having a mallet to knock these band clamps back a little bit, disconnect it from this side, swing it back toward the front of the vehicle, and set it aside.
All right, now before we get our new exhaust on, we just have to take our front factory clamps off and also our rear subframe hangers. We're gonna start up here. Just grab your mallet, just tap your clamps off. All right, now let's get our hangers off. All right, our hangers in the rear, they simply just pull off nice and easy. So now we can swap all over this over to our new exhaust. So we're gonna start off in the front here. As you can see, I have one of our factory clamps already up there. Take our other one, slide over, just line up with these tabs here. Now I do have a pull jack here just to help support everything, but we'll get our X-pipe and slide those right into our factory clamps. Get that supported, and now we can get our axle back on. Now we're going to continue along with the passenger side exhaust. Now I have our hanger that we took off. It's going to slide over our midpoint here. I put one of our clamps already over our X-pipe. Now we're going to get our J-pipe hanger installed. Our J-pipe is on the inside of the car. It's gonna go to our factory hanger back here. Slide that in, and then get that over our X-pipe and slide it towards the front of the car. Get that all lined up, then we can hook our factory hanger up in our subframe. Now you can go ahead and repeat the same thing for the driver's side, and we'll go ahead and get our everything tightened and adjusted. So we're gonna start tightening everything down, starting at the front, working our way backwards. Just make sure that your X-pipe is nice and level. So we'll grab our impact 15 millimeter socket and tighten our two clamps. Keep moving back. After our X-pipe, we have our two aftermarket clamps. They are also 15 millimeter, so grab your impact 15 millimeter socket and tighten these down. Back at our factory hangers for our subframe, we're gonna reinstall our 13 millimeter bolts. Now ours are replacement, yours aren't gonna look like this, but they still will be 13 millimeters. So we're gonna grab our impact extension 13 millimeter socket, tighten these down. So back here at our J-pipe, you'll see a clamp here with a tube sticking out the back. Now that is your drone tube, and that is how you adjust that. If you have too much drone, you can adjust this by loosening this 15 millimeter clamp and sliding this tube in and out to get your proper sound level that you want. Now you see here, there is also a clamp for our tip. Now it is a little bit crooked, so I'm just gonna grab a ratchet and 13 millimeter socket and loosen this up. It's gonna help you get that proper adjustment for the angle of your tip, which we're gonna do next. So we have our tip and our 3-inch clamp. Get that slid over, adjust it to where you want. We can go ahead, grab our impact 15mm socket and snug this up. Now that that's snugged out, we can tighten our ratchet with a 13mm socket for this clamp back here to lock that tip in position. Now you can go ahead and repeat the same thing on the other side. And that wraps up our install of our street race catback exhaust for our 2015-17 Mustang GT Fastback. And remember, for everything Mustang, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.